It was a regular evening when I found myself at Walmart, dropping off my mom who worked there. Little did I know that this visit would unravel a series of unsettling events involving a coworker who had been harassing her. This guy, the embodiment of your typical troublemaker, had a penchant for making inappropriate comments and had even gone so far as to offer to whoop my brother and me. To make matters worse, he seemed to revel in our family's struggles since my mom was widowed, and my brothers and I were facing difficulties in finding work. I had advised my mom to report his behavior to her supervisor, to the labor authorities, and even to the police, but the situation took a sinister turn one night. My mom lent me her truck, and as I returned to pick her up, I encountered the harasser standing outside, smoking. Sensing something wasn't right, my mom handed me money and asked me to grab a few things. As I walked into the store, I noticed him shadowing my every move, glaring and snarling like a wild animal ready to pounce. Thinking on my feet, I engaged in small talk with a young female associate, trying to gauge his reaction. Unsurprisingly, he followed my every move until I reached the checkout. As I left the store, I felt his hostile presence behind me, only to see him abruptly stop when he noticed my concealed carry holster. "Excuse me, can I help you with something?" I asked, unintentionally revealing my firearm. He scurried off to his beat-up truck, seemingly deterred by the realization that I was armed. However, the saga continued as he cut us off on the road, forcing my mom to speed away. We later passed his abandoned truck on the highway, suggesting that he had been lying in wait. Fearful for our safety, my mom and I decided to stop at a gas station, where I left my gun with her for protection. Determined to address this issue head-on, I called the night manager, detailing the aggressive and threatening behavior of this Walmart employee. I made it crystal clear that if I or my family faced any further harassment, I would pursue legal action against the store and its management for allowing such dangerous behavior to persist. The following morning, I filed a formal complaint against the harasser. To my relief, the Walmart staff informed me that he had been fired and banned from the property. Apparently, this was the last straw, as his harassment had been an ongoing issue within the workplace. It left me pondering the sinister possibilities of what might have transpired had he not backed down upon seeing my firearm. The incident served as a stark reminder of the importance of standing up against harassment and taking decisive action to ensure the safety and well-being of oneself and others. When I was 19, knee-deep in the chaos of community college life and diligently chipping away at my tuition with a part-time job, the prospect of romance seemed like a distant memory. My mother, ever the social connector, had taken it upon herself to play matchmaker, leveraging her friendship with the woman who did our nails. Little did I know, this seemingly harmless setup would lead me down a path of discomfort and unease. The nail lady, armed with her own brand of logic, decided to fix me up with the son of one of her other clients. My mother, always one to appreciate a good deal, sold me on the idea with the promise of a potential free meal, an enticing offer for a struggling college student. I figured, why not? So, with a mix of casual nonchalance and an underlying desire to make a good impression, I dolled myself up for the date. I settled on a not-too-fancy ensemble, snug-fitting jeans, a lacy cream-colored top under a maroon hoodie adorned with a floral print, and sturdy snow boots. It was late fall, and the promise of snow lingered in the air. My makeup, a rarity on my face, played up my features, and my hair cascaded in neat curls around my glasses. I believed in the importance of making my dates feel proud to be seen with me, a simple courtesy that transcends casual encounters. The date itself was surprisingly pleasant. Although he didn't exactly fit my personal criteria for attractiveness, he turned out to be genuinely funny and a good guy. We exchanged goodbyes, and I embarked on the 30-minute journey back home, contemplating the possibility of a free meal. However, fate had a different plan for the night. As I drove, I realized my headphones had decided to break their silence, with one side refusing to cooperate. Irritated, I checked the time and noted it was just past 11:30 p.m. Few places remained open at this hour, except for the Walmart conveniently located on the road leading to my house. Having visited this Walmart countless times with my family, I navigated the parking lot with ease, strategically choosing a spot close to the front yet slightly secluded. My eagerness to complete this errand swiftly led me through the dark expanse towards the illuminated entrance. As I passed the almost empty handicapped section, a lone red car caught my attention. Behind the wheel sat a large, bulky man, around 35 years old, clad in a red plaid shirt. His meaty fingers gripped the steering wheel in total silence. Despite the absence of a handicap sticker, I assumed he awaited someone and wanted a convenient parking spot. Little did I know, this assumption would lead me into an unsettling encounter. As I gave the car a wide berth, he unexpectedly called out to me, waving me over. I hesitated, taking a few tentative steps towards his car while maintaining a safe distance. Standing at 5 feet 5 inches, I noted that this man easily had a foot on me, if not more. I rotated my keys, ensuring the keyblade was visible, ready to act if the situation took a turn. "You sure are beautiful," he uttered slowly. Thanking him, I tried to redirect the conversation, expressing my intent to head inside. Oddly, he asked about the interstate's location, a baffling question given that it was right in front of him. Feeling uneasy, I pointed out the obvious and gestured towards the road. "Thank you, miss," he replied, but then he lingered, his eyes never leaving me. Once again, he commented on my appearance, his gaze crawling over my silhouette. Suppressing a shudder, I informed him of the store's closing time at 3 a.m., a fact any local would know. That seemed to shut him up, and I took it as my cue to leave. Walking briskly, I grabbed a cheap pair of earbuds from the electronics section, opting for the self-service checkout. Not wanting to exit through the same door, I sought an alternate route. As I approached the other exit, I peeked my head out cautiously. His car was still there, his gaze fixed on the entrance where I had disappeared. Creeped out, I contemplated his strange question about the interstate, the late hour, and the rural surroundings. Deciding I wanted no further encounters with this man, I fully zipped up my hoodie, concealing any reflective surfaces. I put on my hood and, with calculated casualness, headed towards the nearest row of cars, making sure to stay slightly behind the nearest one. I weaved through the rows, crossing the road and returning to my car on the other side. With a sigh of relief, I peeled out in the opposite direction. The entire 20-minute ride home, I checked my rearview mirror intermittently, ensuring no headlights followed. Upon reaching home, I locked all the doors, tossed the headphones on my bed, and slipped under the covers. To the creepy guy from Walmart, whatever your game was, I'm just grateful I wasn't a part of it. Let's hope our paths never cross again. My sister and I found ourselves at Walmart, on an ordinary day, with a simple mission to grab groceries for her mom. Little did we know that this routine shopping trip would take an unsettling turn that would leave us on edge. As we strolled through the freezer aisle, casually discussing the items on our list, I happened to glance up and noticed a man fixedly staring at me. My initial reaction was to brush it off, jokingly telling my sister, "That man must think I'm cute, he won't stop staring." We continued our shopping, thinking it was just a fleeting moment. But as we ventured into different aisles, I couldn't shake the feeling of his eyes on me again. It was like an eerie déjà vu. The discomfort grew when we changed sections, only to find him trailing behind us, his gaze unwavering. Panic set in, and I suggested to my sister that we move to a completely different part of the store, hoping to shake off this unsettling presence. Our attempts to distance ourselves seemed futile when he persisted, appearing in the women's clothing and electronics sections after us. The situation escalated, and a knot of fear tightened in my stomach. It was time to cut our shopping short. As we hastened to the checkout, a brief sense of relief washed over us when he was nowhere in sight. However, that reprieve was short-lived. Just as we were about to exit the store, there he was, emerging from the bathroom, positioned strategically in front of the checkout counters. I knew he had spotted me, and a chill ran down my spine. We wasted no time in putting our groceries away and heading for the exit. But the unease persisted. His vehicle was parked just a few spots away from ours. Determined to ensure our safety, we decided to change our parking spot, only to realize he was tailing us closely. The tension reached its peak as we left the parking lot. True to our fears, he started tailing us on the road. We altered our route through different parking lots, desperately trying to shake off this ominous follower. As luck would have it, he got stuck in a line of traffic, giving us a chance to distance ourselves. Later, I couldn't help but reflect on the encounter. I remained uncertain about his true intentions, but the chilling thought crossed my mind that we might have narrowly escaped a potentially dangerous situation. Stories of sex trafficking in the area lingered in my thoughts, reinforcing the gravity of the situation. It was a day at Walmart that I would never forget, a stark reminder that danger can lurk in the most unexpected places. "3 years ago, when my youngest was just around 3 months old, almost hitting the 4-month mark, I found myself in need of a new breast pump. Having recently returned to work, I embarked on a journey to one of the 2 Walmarts near me, both approximately a 15-minute drive away. Now, one of these Walmarts nestled in a sketchy area, while the other graced a nicer neighborhood. The purpose of my visit was straightforward, but little did I know that a seemingly routine shopping trip would soon evolve into a bizarre and unsettling encounter. As I strolled through the children's area with my little one snug in his car seat, covered by a gentle blanket, an elderly lady approached me. Polite but brief, I responded to her inquiries about my baby. However, her innocent curiosity soon gave way to a peculiar tale about her troublesome daughter-in-law and her estranged grandbabies. As my baby stirred beneath the blanket, I decided to move away and explore the baby clothes section, attempting to create some distance from the persistent stranger. But she trailed behind me, an uncomfortable feeling settling in the pit of my stomach. Reflecting on my paranoia, I brushed it off, attributing it to an overdose of serial killer documentaries. However, my unease proved justified when, after realizing I needed breast milk storage bags, I returned to the baby section. Alone with my little one in the aisle, I crouched down to inspect the storage bags when an eerie sensation washed over me. Lo and behold, the old lady reappeared, attempting to surreptitiously unbuckle my son. Reacting swiftly, I snapped at her to stay away, but she escalated the situation, attempting to snatch the entire baby carrier with my precious child inside. Panic set in, and my cries for help echoed through the store as 2 employees intervened, separating us but leaving my child stranded between us. Amidst the chaos, the old lady ranted about her rights as a grandmother, vehemently claiming that this was her baby. Desperation and fear gripped me as I frantically showed the bewildered employees pictures of my son, me, and the rest of my family on my phone, hoping to prove my claim. With a lump in my throat and tears streaming down my face, I pleaded for an escort to my car, fearing the woman's erratic behavior. As they ushered me away, she continued her tirade, concocting wild stories about me trying to kidnap her grandchild. I sent someone else to grab what I needed from Target, vowing never to set foot in that particular Walmart again. The echoes of that harrowing encounter linger, a chilling reminder of the unexpected perils that can unfold in the most mundane of places. As a young kid, one of our cherished family traditions was to frequent a drive-in theater during the balmy summer evenings. This particular drive-in was situated in the middle of nowhere, adding a sense of adventure to our cinematic escapades. Our routine was to select a movie we were uncertain about, wait until it was one of the two featured films, and then pile into our SUV laden with blankets, lawn chairs, and any friends daring enough to join us. The drive-in allowed outside food if you shelled out an extra $10 on top of the regular admission fee for the entire car. To prepare for our movie night, we'd embark on a pre-cinematic grocery expedition, typically at a Walmart nearby. We'd divide into groups, each responsible for different items, ensuring we arrived early enough to snag prime parking spots. At the tender age of 9 or 10, I was deemed old enough to venture into the store aisle on my own for some designated grocery items. On this particular occasion, my dad assigned me the crucial task of fetching peanut butter and jelly. With the confidence bestowed upon me, I dashed off to the jelly aisle. However, my youthful enthusiasm quickly dissipated when I encountered a rather unsettling sight. A man, donned in the quintessential farmer Bob attire, complete with overalls and a trucker hat, stood right in front of the jelly display. What sent shivers down my spine was his appearance, particularly his mouth. It seemed he might have been a devoted chewing tobacco enthusiast in his younger years, potentially leading to mouth cancer and the removal of his jaw. To my 9-year-old imagination, he looked like a character from a horror movie, a zombie in my innocent eyes. Paralyzed with fear, I oscillated between grabbing the jelly quickly and making a hasty retreat. Just as I was about to make a decision, the man turned and smiled at me. That unsettling grin, coupled with the vacant look in his eyes and his overall posture, intensified my discomfort. Without a second thought, I executed a perfect about-face, fleeing the aisle in a flash to where my dad was waiting. I breathlessly informed my dad that I couldn't find the jelly, and he, with an eye roll, accompanied me back to the aisle. To my dismay, the man was still there, smiling and now seemingly fixated on the direction I had fled. Sensing my unease, my dad ushered me to the other side of the store to find an alternative item. As we perused the aisles, I attempted to convince myself that I had overreacted. Perhaps the man was just a harmless individual recovering from a severe health issue. However, my dad's hushed words to my mom shattered my reassurances. He warned her not to go to the jelly aisle and promptly declared that we were leaving. The lingering uncertainty about whether the man was merely a survivor of mouth cancer or a potential threat left me feeling a twinge of guilt. Yet, as we drove away from the store, I couldn't shake the desire to avoid any future encounters with the mysterious figure from the jelly aisle. Growing up, I always carried the weight of a perceived ugliness, my gaze perpetually fixed downward, avoiding the scrutinizing eyes of the world. It may seem trivial to start a story this way, but bear with me, the journey takes a sharp turn into the unexpected. My fascination with the samurai era in Japan became a refuge from my insecurities. Collecting memorabilia from that time period became my passion, a way to connect with a world where honor and strength were revered. Little did I know that this interest would play a crucial role in an incident that unfolded on a seemingly ordinary day. It was pouring rain when I found myself navigating the aisles of Walmart, a grocery list in hand and my 13-month-old daughter in tow. The rhythmic flow of shoppers through the store provided a sense of normalcy, but little did I know that an unwelcome companion was tailing our every move. A man in a brown raincoat, hood drawn up, followed us closely, his pungent body odor betraying his presence. Focused on securing essentials like milk and bread, I weaved against the natural flow of the aisles. The man persisted, his unsettling proximity raising my unease. He lacked a shopping cart and seemed to be picking up random items as he shadowed us. As I concluded my shopping, a growing sense of discomfort spurred me to check out quickly. Exiting the store into the rainy darkness, I began placing my daughter in her car seat. Instinctively, I wedged her stroller between myself and the car, creating a narrow space between the vehicle and the cart. That's when the overwhelming stench hit me again, and I heard a low, menacing laughter. Preparing to stow the groceries, I felt a presence behind me. Whirling around, my eyes met the man in the brown raincoat, standing opposite me. The foul odor seemed to intensify as he unleashed that chilling laughter. Something in me snapped. Recalling my samurai memorabilia, my hand gravitated towards a umbrella-concealed katana. Swiftly, I unsheathed the makeshift weapon and swung it with an intention to defend, to protect. The blade missed its mark, but the man had seized my cart and stood there, his manic laughter filling the air. Without hesitation, I snarled and shoved the cart at him. In that moment, the training from the local dojo kicked in. I stared him down, my gaze unwavering. "Get lost," I commanded, the words dripping with authority and a newfound sense of strength. His buggy eyes flickered towards my hands, where the makeshift katana was poised. For a surreal second, his mouth hung open in shock. Then, as my grip on the weapon loosened, he ran. The cart collided with his face, leaving a mark of my defiance. As he fled, he crashed into the Walmart Asset Protection Associate, a familiar face from high school. The associate, stunned, loaded the assailant into a police car nearly 20 minutes later. As the man stared at me, his mouth moved, but no words emerged. I hoped, fervently, that our paths would never cross again. In the aftermath, I stood there, the rain washing away the tension that had gripped me. The samurai spirit that had become a mere collection of artifacts had, unexpectedly, empowered me to face a threat head-on. It was a moment of triumph, an unexpected chapter in my journey where the echoes of my insecurities clashed with the strength I never knew I possessed. It was a chilly night, the darkness enveloping the winding roads as my girlfriend and I left our friend's house around 10 p.m. to meet others at the distant Applebee's, a good 20-minute drive away. I'm your average 22-year-old guy, not someone you'd actively avoid in a dark alley, but certainly not someone you'd want to pick on either, a bit stocky and muscular, far from puny. Little did I know, this night would take a turn for the unnerving. As we pulled out of the driveway, I noticed a looming presence in my rearview mirror, a massive truck, approaching us at an uncomfortably close distance. It swerved slightly, and although the driver didn't appear drunk, a sense of unease began to settle in. The road was fairly straight, the speed limit 45 miles per hour, and I was cruising at a steady 50 miles per hour. Then came the flashing lights, a universal signal that something was amiss. I considered the possibilities, maybe my lights were off, or perhaps the driver wanted me to pull over. But I had recently passed a car inspection, and there was no reason for me to yield. Yet, the truck persisted, right on my tail, a mere 15 or 20 feet behind. Panic started to set in, and my girlfriend, fixated on her desire for the classic Applebee's meal, began to grow uneasy too. Aware of the high crime rate in our area and the unsettling tales of gang initiations involving running people off the road, I decided to take evasive action. Turning onto random side roads, I hoped to shake off the persistent truck, but to no avail. The relentless pursuit continued, and our nerves reached a breaking point. Finally, we found ourselves at a Walmart, its fluorescent lights providing a surreal backdrop to our escalating fear. Desperate to escape, I took a sharp turn onto a back road where trucks unload, reaching a staggering 80 miles per hour. Still, the red, beaten-down truck stayed on our tail, defying all road rules. Upon arriving at the Applebee's parking lot, the truck mysteriously disappeared. A moment of relief turned to confusion as I saw the same red truck parked a few rows away, its lights glaring ominously. We were too shaken to even eat, and when I glanced out the window, the truck was still there. Having had enough, I grabbed a steak knife from the table and ventured outside to confront the mysterious driver. As I approached the truck, a chilling sight unfolded, the back seat filled with duct tape, random tools, tarps, and other eerie items. I snapped pictures of the license plate and waited, but the owner never returned. Concerned and wary of the rising gang initiation activities in our area, I reported the incident to the police. It could have been some teens attempting a sinister joke, but the potential danger was too great to dismiss. To the mysterious truck driver who disrupted our night and sparked fear in us, let's hope our paths never cross again.